Ming, congratulations on being the winner of the Mark S. Wrighton Alumni Award for the McDonnell Academy.
Thank you, Kurt. I'm very excited.
Well, we're very honored to have you as an award winner. Certainly provide an inspiration for all the scholars who follow you.
Thank you.
Well, today I'd like to talk a little bit about what's happened since you've graduated from the McDonnell Academy and Washington University. Hear a little bit about your career and some of the advice and lessons that you have for our current scholars and our alumni. Well, let's start out with tell us about your current role at Emerson.
So I'm a director of global category management at Emerson System and Software Platform. The platform is about $3 billion in revenue. And my team manage about 200 million of hardware and software materials. So we juggle different suppliers, different global challenges, the COVID and everything, shortages, and trying to make the best delivery to our customer.
In that role, I believe you work quite a bit in other countries, including China.
Absolutely, absolutely. So my whole team is all over the world. We have a few countries in Europe and a few sites in China. So globally, we're supporting over 50 sites. Within the platform and different platforms. We're supporting the control system for the life science industry, power industry. So our stakeholders all over the world. My team is all over the world. So every day it's a juggle from Middle East, India in the morning until Asia in the night.
Wow, that sounds like a very challenging job. I assume that your time at Washington University and your time at McDonnell Academy helped you prepare for that. Can you share a little bit how maybe some of your experiences at the Olin Business School and through the McDonnell Academy helped you?
Yeah, absolutely. I studied at Olin and went through the academy between year 2006 and 2008. And I have to say the exposure you had with the diversified student group and scholars helped me a lot. And during the academy, we had a very small class. Back then was 16 to 17 scholars at the first year, and from different country background. It's eye-opening, for young scholars, and we bonded very well. It's a small group, and we have ambassadors also from a diversified background and corporate sponsors. So that experience to set a very interesting global perspective for myself. You learn about different cultures. We had a very safe environment, talk about challenging issues back then. And that give you confidence, that give you empathy and curiosity about different cultures out there. And learning didn't stop. Since you go to different company, different positions, your exposure expanded. But then that foundation is set up from the academy, and Olin went a long way. Is
there an experience you had during your time in the McDonnell Academy when you were here that sticks out in your mind?
Oh yeah, my biggest moment in my life so far is to ring the bell in the New York Stock Exchange. That was fantastic. Coming from international background, you hear a lot of things, but you never got to experience yourself. And the first year we went to visit Washington, D.C. and New York, and met with politicians and senators, congressmen, and we got to experience the Wall Street. We got to experience ring the bell in the New York Stock Exchange. That alone is a fantastic experience and exposure for international students like myself.
Well, I believe Chancellor Wrighton still tells the story that when you rang the bell, that the market went up, right?
The global crisis happened right at that moment. So I wouldn't recommend to invite me for next round. Yeah.
So you were an MBA student during the time, and during that time you're interacting with students from all different schools throughout Washington University. As an MBA student, how did that exposure and that ability to interact with students from engineering, from arts and sciences, medicine help you during your time? And is that something that you think would be helpful for other MBA students who may be considering the McDonnell Academy?
Absolutely. So when we were at the McDonnell Academies, as a business school, you normally jump from class to class. You learn about finance, marketing, supply chain, just for the functional specifics. But in the academy, you got exposure with other disciplines, engineering, environmental engineering, law school. And I remember I connected with quite a few law school McDonnell Academies, and I took some law school negotiation class, and as they recommended, it was a fantastic experience. And when you're in the company, it's the same way. You never stay in the same discipline, the same project. You work with stakeholders in different functions. Understanding their perspectives and their way of thinking will always make your own position more productive and successful.
Well, it sounds like certainly the Academy provided exposure to a lot more people than you would have been exposed to otherwise. Can you talk a little bit about how the Academy impacted your network? And one of the other things that we talk about is the community of the Academy. Can you also talk a little about what it feels like to be a member of the McDonnell Academy community?
The community increased a lot in size over the last 13, 14 years. At the beginning, it was very small and a very close netted group of 17, 16 students. We hang out a lot, different gatherings and different topics. And later on, we had alumni, right, like myself. And later on, we got more ambassadors involved and more family. So we have always trying to be very engaged. And my husband later on became the ambassador for Tsinghua University. So it gave me the opportunity to stay even more closer connected with the Tsinghua scholars. And that exposure is very important for me to stay connected to what's going on. And I always use the opportunity to talk to the scholars and what they're experiencing. And especially, the recent years, we had some challenges with U.S.-China geopolitical. So talking with the young scholars, understanding their perspectives, their challenges, and then share my experience going through some of the similar challenges over the years. And I'm really glad I could help them to a certain degree, and I can learn something from them in return.
Well, Tsinghua is certainly one of our strongest partners even today, and we really value having students come from Tsinghua and other universities throughout China. Why do you think it's important today for students who are coming from China to consider being a part of the McDonnell Academy?
I think it's extremely important. I've known a lot of scholars coming from engineering background and jumping directly into a PhD study in just engineering. You focus on research, you focus on science and engineering discipline. But eventually, when you get into the real world, you go to the academia or you go to a company career path, you will always have to understand the global aspect of things. And then to be aware and to be conscious about different global challenges and appreciate different culture diversity will go a long way. Doesn't matter you're academia or you're in the industry. And I do think even for engineering students or for students from China or India or any other country with a very unique culture background, use the opportunity to understand different culture and use the opportunity to explore different side of yourself and then trying to be a global citizen, not just saying I'm from US, I'm from China, I'm from India. That's very important. That mindset will tell you apart from the other candidates later on your career path.
You were one of the very first scholars in the McDonnell Academy, I believe, in the very first group.
Absolutely.
What's been one of the biggest changes you've seen in the McDonnell Academy since you started?
The broader diversity. At the beginning, I think we only had 5 institute partners, I believe, and covering a few countries. And now we have a lot more countries, a lot more scholars. I think right now, adding the alumni, we're over 100 for sure. And that networking is broader. And the challenges I have seen is to stay connected, right? How do we as alumni and as a recent graduate scholar to stay connected with our ever-growing network? And to me, it's a great asset, and how we leverage and how we utilize this opportunity to expand our network, it's a great opportunity.
Well, let's switch to talking a little bit about scholars. One of the reasons why this award is so important is it provides a vision of what the McDonnell Academy scholars go on and do with their life. And so we're really excited to be able to honor you for the success that you've had, for how you stayed engaged with the Academy. As you think about the current scholars, we love to challenge them. Is there any advice that you have for the current scholars who are in the program on what they might do to prepare themselves while they're here at Washington University?
I would say first one is to start to build your confidence. For international students coming from a different background, the first instinct is always to sit back and observe and trying to see what's going on out there. At the beginning, it's absolutely wise for you to learn more, but sooner or later, you want to encourage yourself, get out of the comfort zone. And whenever you do that, you're going to have a new topic. For example, when we went through the open forum at Academy, we always challenge ourselves to talk about challenging issues. I picked the issue about about openness and fair for multimedia sharing in China, which is not a very interesting and open topic to discuss about. But we challenge ourselves, and you got out of your comfort zone. This is a safe environment, and this is very important for you to pick some challenging topics to exchange with your fair scholars and get feedbacks. And that experience will help you build on your confidence, because later on when you're in your career, it's very common you're put in a tough position. You have to take a topic you may or may not like to, and you have to justify, you have to present something, even represent your own work or representing others' work. So that confidence and stand up and speak up, that will go a long way.
I think in other forums I've heard you talk about how the Academy perhaps built your confidence and changed you. Is there one thing that that you'd like to point out, and how maybe your time in the Academy impacted you the most?
I did enjoy a lot with the networking events we had. And that is the events normally we invite the ambassadors and the corporate sponsors. And you look at the corporate sponsors and the ambassadors, they are very successful leaders themselves. And I really enjoyed interacting with them, understanding their perspectives, their leadership style, and how they interact and how they mentoring others. And that experience, I think, is very eye-opening for me. And that taught me there are many different styles of leadership. Not always type A style, my way or no way, or there's not always a collaborator style. Different scenario calls on different leadership styles. I think that the broad exposure to diversified or different way of leadership really helped me grow and learn.
Well, your role is a very globally oriented role. You're interacting with people all over the world. Your team is spread all over the world. What type of leadership is important for an individual who is operating that type of role, a very globally focused role?
I think the leadership style that is most important is collaborative and strong in communication. That's what I think. I've seen a lot of leader is very strong in a small function but failed in a global setup. It's once you're interacting with a global audience, you can't afford to meet face-to-face all day long. You can't talk to them every morning, get a coffee together. So to trying to learn about different communication skills and to connect with people remotely in a different continent, different time zone, and you're understanding what are people struggling with, just like when we were working with the India team a few months ago when they were going through the second wave. And then you can understand they're struggling, not just the day-to-day, but they're losing someone they know on a daily basis. So you have to understand what people are going through, and you're willing to listen in a different level, understanding them as a person first, and then work with them. Then you build that trust. I think trust and communication are the key that how you can be successful in a global environment like nowadays.
Well, that gives me comfort. That's the things that we are trying to instill in each of our scholars, and so I think people like you can help them develop that along the way. So our alumni group is large and growing now, and again, you are perhaps one of our most senior alumni now, and obviously receiving the Wrighton Award. Do you have any challenge for the alumni who are following you in terms of what they can do to help the McDonnell Academy?
Yeah, I think I would call on my fair alumni to see what can we do to give back to the community, and thinking about different mentorship opportunity. And what I feel, when you connect with someone with a similar background, went through the same struggles as you, your advice is a lot better and more appreciated than the general advice you can search on Google or any online training. So I would encourage our alum to reach out back to the Academy and reconnect with the scholars, and thinking about what mentor you can give back, and also how we can reconnect as the alum. And a lot of scholars went into their career. The first couple of years of your career is always the most challenging. I can definitely see some of them working 60, 70, 80 hours a week. So to carve out a different couple of hours and to give back is always very appreciated. I think I will use the opportunity to reconnect with our fair alum as well, and see when I travel, when COVID is over, when we go back to travel, I'll try to reconnect with our alum in different countries and different regions to see what else can we come up with.
Well, we are so excited to be able to honor you with the Wrighton Award. Again, you are a person who has had a very successful career and who has stayed engaged with the McDonnell Academy, helping us grow over the years. And so that's the inspiration for all of us. For you, I'd like to ask, why is the Mark S. Wrighton Award important from your perspective?
It means a lot to me. And first of all, after you graduate from school for 10 plus years, and to understand there is an outstanding academy, still recognize you as both a scholar back then and also as a successful alum, it's a very good recognition for me. And then we go fight day to day in our daily job, and some days a good day, you think you saved the world. The other day is not so good, you think you failed the world. But from time to time, recognition like this means a lot. It means our efforts back then at school and our efforts in our career and with family, it's paying off, and we can take a moment to pause and appreciate what we have gone and what others have given us.
Well, wonderful. Well, again, congratulations. We're very excited to have you receive this award and for you to be someone who our scholars and alumni can look to as a model.
Thank you, Kurt. Thank you so much for this honor. And I look forward to connecting stronger and closer with our other academy and alums.
Great.
Thank you.